Look, I'm just reacting here in real time. I haven't looked at the official stats, but I'm looking at the drive charts for this game as Michigan loses 27-9. And I think they got 0 rushing yards in the second half, right? 0 rushing yards in the second half. This team had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possessions in the second half. 4 plays, 26 yards, punt. 7 plays, 29 yards, punt. I guess now 1, 2, 3, 4. I said 5. It's only 4 possessions. 3 plays, -6 yards, punt. 3 plays, 5 yards, punt. Time of possessions on those drives: 1:47, 2:29, 1:34, and 30 seconds. All right. I'll get into my post-game recap. I'm just riffing off the top here. Ohio State, 8 plays, 4:47 time possession, 2 plays, touchdown, 45 seconds. And then the backbreaker, the killer. When you just knew it was like, wow, we are not winning this game, but they can basically do whatever they want at this point. 20 plays, 81 yards, 11 minutes and 56 seconds off the clock, and they got a field goal to put them up 27-9, and that was the ball game. Get down in the comments. Michigan's 4-game winning streak over Ohio State is over, and it's beat Ohio State again for next year, right? Again, it's into the future again. Ryan Day had a better game plan. Sherrone Moore and Michigan's offense could absolutely do nothing outside of the first possession and a little bit on the second possession, but then Jordan Marshall went out. He tried to come back for a couple plays in the second half, clearly was injured. Michigan played without Max Bredesen. Michigan played without Ernest Hausman, which I'm not going to make, I'm not going to go off on Ernest Hausman, but I don't necessarily, unless there's something I don't know about going on, mentally with him, I don't necessarily agree with him quitting on the Michigan football team. He's not injured. It's personal reasons. It seems that he just quit on the Michigan football team before the Maryland game last week. And so it just wasn't happening today for this team. So let's start off with the video. Just get your comments. Just want to hear what you think about the state of this program, right? You win 9 games, you go 9-3. You'll be ranked probably 18th or 19th in the final regular season polls, dropping from 15 where you're at now. And this is a team that lost by double digits to their best 3 opponents, right? Oklahoma on the road, USC on the road, Ohio State at home. And it started good. So go ahead and comment down. Let me know. Just comment on today's video or today's game. Comment on the entire season. I'll be in there, with a tear going down my cheek. And we'll be replying to a bunch of those here as we get into Saturday afternoon, see what happens. Oregon, Washington, Auburn, Alabama. A lot of good football on today. So go enjoy it. Don't cry. Be happy the 4 years in a row happened. Be happy that this team looks like it's got a lot of young talent in front of it, that Jordan Marshall will return, that Justice Haynes potentially is going to return, that Savion Hyder will be back next year, that Andrew Marsh, who didn't have a catch today unless I missed one, is going to be back as part of this team next year. Let's start to recap. Michigan looked good early. You had a nice run by Jordan Marshall, but it was like, get in the end zone, have better play calls inside the 15-yard line, inside the 20-yard line, and they didn't. They had a bad, play calling strategy in the red zone early on when they had opportunities to get there, and then they pick off Julian Sayin. You're about to break their spirits. You're about to score a touchdown here, go up 10-0. This kid's gonna start wilting in under the pressure of the cold weather and the wind and the snow that started coming down in parts of the second quarter and through much of the second half, but he didn't. And Michigan was only able to get 6 points, even though all the momentum the first half of the first quarter was going their way. And I don't know about you guys, but I felt nervous at that point when Michigan was up 6-0. And then from there, it kind of played out like maybe some people expected it to, but you go field goal, interception, field goal, and Ohio State gets a field goal. And you're still kind of feeling good. You end the second quarter, Michigan punts the ball, and it's 6-3 Michigan. But then Ohio State scores a touchdown, and I believe it was the one with Smith. Yes, it was. And that play call, not to mention the field goal play call where they tried to give Julian Sayin a touchdown on a QB sneak when he clearly wasn't anywhere close to being in. But then Jeremiah Smith, could something go Michigan's way, which seems needed to happen in this game with potentially the best offense and best defense in college football on the other side. And Jeremiah Smith catches the ball, but the 4 or 5 yard line, goes to get to the end zone, and he bobbles the ball. And I'm not saying he didn't beat Michigan's defensive, backs down the field. I'm not saying that wasn't a great pass by Sayin, but he was clearly bobbled the ball as he went to the end zone, and then he caught it, and he was out of bounds. So it would have been a monumental call to have overturned. It would have potentially given Ohio State fans an excuse had they lost this game, that the refs were in it for Michigan and all this different stuff. But I think the refs made the wrong call there. I really do. It would have been insane. It would have been by inches. It would have been game changing. But nevertheless, I think it still should have happened. And so instead of it being 10-6 Ohio State at that point, it should have still been 6-3. Michigan got the ball back. They ended up kicking a field goal. Think of how different this game could have been if the score was 9-3 Michigan instead of it being 10-6 or 10-9, I guess, after the field goal by the Wolverines. Not to mention that Michigan didn't get in the end zone throughout this game. So I don't know if they would have won the game. I'm not sure if it would change anything in the second half. That's why we're not going to jump to. So Ohio State scores another touchdown. Carnell Tate, I believe that one was, right? Yeah, Tate. I mean, this is one that I'm all over the place. It's Brandon Innes. I'm sorry. Tate was in the third quarter. But they go into half up 17-8. And you feel okay. You feel like, all right, bad weather coming in the second half. What can Michigan do to rekindle all the good decisions and good play calls and everything they've done good over the last 4 years in the second half? And it happens, right? Ohio State gets 8 plays, 34 yards. They take up 5 minutes of clock. And they're like, all right, punt time for Ohio State. Ball back to Michigan, down by 1 score, 17-9. And what does Michigan do with it? 3 and out, I guess, or 4 plays. So you get a 26-yard pass to Donaven McCulley, and then 0-yard pass, right, to Marlin Klein. No yards on a run to Bryson Kuzdzal, and then an incomplete pass on third down for Michigan, 3rd and 10. And frankly, at that point, and on that play right there, there was about 9 minutes and 27 seconds. I'm sorry, 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game when Bryce Underwood threw an incompletion on that play. That was the ball game. The game was over right then because then Ohio State comes back, 2 plays, 57 yards, deep touchdown. That was the one to Carnell Tate. That was the one that was wide open for this team. 50-yard touchdown. You just can't give up these easy, quick scores to the Ohio State team. And that was all she wrote. That was 24-9. The game was over. Michigan did absolutely nothing in the second half on offense. Would they get 50 yards of offense in the second half? No rushing yards. And going back to just thinking about what that long drive, that 12-minute drive is, that's the kind of drive that Michigan's had the last 4 years. That's what Michigan's done, and Ohio State did it. They converted on third down basically every time they had an opportunity to, and I kind of pull that up for this conversation. Ohio State 10 of 17 on third down, and then also 2 of 3 on fourth down. So if you kind of take those 17 possessions, 12 of 17 times that they had the ball, when it got to third or fourth down, they converted on it. Conversely, Michigan 1 of 9 on third, 0 of 1 on fourth. So the 9 times Michigan went for it on third down, the fourth down, is one of those 9. They got it 1 single time. Bryce Underwood had a disaster of a game, frankly. 8 of 18, 63 yards passing. From a running perspective, 6 carries for 1 yard. Long of 7, so every other time was clearly him just scrambling around. Donaven McCulley, 3 catches for 46 yards. Already had a couple of decent, nice ones. But then where was the rest of the offense? Jordan Marshall with 1 catch. Bryson Kuzdzal with 2 catches for 5 yards. Deacon Tonelli 1 for 2. Marlin Klein 1 for 0. This offense was not putting this team in position to play. And then on defense, it's one of maybe the least things that fans talk about, but there was no pass rush all day. You didn't get any pass rush from the front 4. You didn't get a single blitz that I saw, maybe the first couple possessions, but after that, you didn't get a single blitz that worked of the very few blitzes there were. So Julian Sayin, even though he didn't, throw all over the place for 400 or 500 yards or anything like that, he had all day to throw. No pass rush. The running game for them was excellent. It was a lot better than Michigan's. Bo Jackson, 22 carries for 117. C.J. Donaldson, 14 carries for 44. Isaiah West, 6 for 20. And Julian Sayin himself, 4 for 7 yards. And one notably a scramble on a third down where he beat the Michigan guy to the pylon. So I'm going to have a sip of beer here. I've got a lot of good memories from the last 4 years. I think Michigan's got a good ball club coming back. They need to find at least one big-time offensive lineman. You need to find one or two, one big-time, one serviceable wide receiver, because frankly, if Donaven McCulley's not coming back, Michigan has one serviceable wide receiver that can even play. So they probably need two and maybe three in total to come back in this team in addition to Andrew Marsh. And hopefully Justice Haynes comes back. I'm not sure if he will, but it seems like that could be possible with a nice NIL package. You get Jordan Marshall coming back. Kuzdzal, maybe he comes back as well. Maybe he transfers and gets a nice NIL package for himself, which would be nice. But I like what Michigan has coming back next year. I'm not sure if it's going to be as good as Ohio State's team. They're going to have Julian Sayin coming back. They're going to have Jeremiah Smith. They're going to have Bo Jackson. So they're going to be loaded as well. And these are two teams that should be ranked in the top 6 to 8. Ohio State will probably be ranked number 1 and number 2 to start next year. Michigan should be ranked in the 6 to 8, ranking there. They're going to be in some bowl game, which I hope all the players play that are leaving, that try and leave on a high note like they did against Alabama, even though you had Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and Will Johnson and Colson Loveland not play last year. But this one hurts. It seems like Michigan's game plan was to just hope that the game was close and hope that some sort of miracle happened in the fourth quarter, but neither of those things happened. You didn't get a single attempt at a trick play. Luckily you had Michigan's kicker, show up and kick some. I want to see what these the field goals were, because they were frankly terrific from Dominic Savada. As we look at the box score here, yeah, I'm not going to waste your guys' time. I had it up, but we don't anymore. So one of them was really long, 145 yards. But as my rant comes up on 12 minutes, I'll leave you with this. It's been a great 4-year run for Michigan. Ohio State clearly had the better team today. They clearly had the better game plan, clearly had the better coaching staff in this game. And frankly, they're going to be tough to beat for anybody, Indiana, an SEC team, whoever, in the college football playoff, where they will go after the Big Ten championship game next week. Shout out to Julian Sayin. Played an awesome game after it looked like he was just going to wilt and fall apart after those first couple possessions. He played an awesome game, and he deserves all the accolades that are coming to him, and he'll return next year as the clear-cut Heisman favorite, whether or not he wins it this year. We'll reflect on this more. I'll watch the game again. I'll have some more structured notes, as I've just been rambling for 12 and a half minutes, 13 minutes here on the Michigan Football Report post-game show. Ohio State wins 27-9. Subscribe if you want to. We'll be back with more programming. Signing day is Wednesday. Go Blue.